On the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment, we're just going to be talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. and him going to the IL for the Padres and the impact it is going to have on their team. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers that ensure that your question does get read on the air. Please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. Read it's of the show. It really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so our second segment is, of course, going to be talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. and his injury for the San Diego Padres and just the impact it is going to have on their team. So let's get into it. So, of course, Tatis was having a really, really fantastic season with the Padres. When I made my All-Star ballot vote, I did end up having him as my starting right fielder for the game, which was just fantastic overall this year with the Padres. Has a 139 weighted runs created plus, which just was really, really great, and was continuing to be the Tatis we all know. Hadn't been at his best the past few years. 2022, of course, missed the entire season with a boatload of injuries. 2023 was good, but wasn't as good as you'd expect a player of Tatis to be, a guy who's getting paid like he is. So definitely there needed to be some improvement this year, and he has done exactly that. Been very, very good, and has been one of the big reasons why the Padres have been really good and have been a team that I have been looking forward to watch this entire year. Now, Tatis was placed on the injured list with a stress reaction in his leg. Apparently, he had been battling through it the entire year, so it wasn't something new. It just got to a point where the Padres and Tatis said, it was enough. I can't battle with this pain anymore. It's genuinely affecting how I'm playing right now. So it was time for him to go in the IL, and that is what would end up happening here for Tatis. So, obviously will impact the Padres a lot. I mean, this is their starting right fielder. This is the heartblood of their team. When he's going, the Padres are going, and they've had a lot of injuries this year, so having another one to one of their star players really is very unfortunate. I mean, you've already had Xander Bogaerts go on the injured list. Machado's been kind of fighting injury all year. Darvish, Joe Musgrove been fighting injury all year. So losing another one of your stars, another one of your franchise icons to the injured list this year for the Padres is not great. But, and they still are having a good, solid season and still are a team I really like. Obviously, I think right now they probably are overall going to be very close to finishing in the wild card. Again, I did my prediction a few days ago, just preliminary, and I thought I had them very close to the Mets for the 6th wild card. I did not pick in the Mets, but I still think the Padres are a great team. Again, starting rotation has been very good, especially with the addition of Dylan Cease. It hasn't been very good, I should say. That was the wrong choice of words, but it has been very solid, and there are still a lot of good pieces here. Again, when Musgrove come off the injured list and become better, they are going to end up doing really well. So, overall, there is a lot of talent on this Padres team, starting out with Tatis, with how good of a player he is. And, if I'm a Padres fan, it is unfortunate. It seems like Tatis is going to be out for a significant amount of time as well. It seems like he's going to be out much past the All-Star break, so probably maybe 1 or 2 months, I'd say. So it really is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's got to happen. And I think Tatis with injuries is just going to be something that he deals with the rest of his career. It seems like he is just going to be a guy that has a lot of injuries throughout his career, and it is unfortunate, but that's the way it is, and you can't really blame him. I mean, what's he supposed to do? It's just how his body reacts. So it is unfortunate, but that is what is going to happen with him. So looking at the Padres I still think they're a really fantastic team. I still think this team has a ton of talent on it, and I still think there is a lot to like. Again, the rotation has a lot of great pieces with Cease, of course, with Michael King, with Matt Waldron, with Darvish and Joe Musgrove, who, of course, are on the injured list. Should be back relatively soon, but we're not sure what that is going to look like. Both have been on and off the entire year, so there are some rumblings from Padres fans I've seen on social media that he may need to get just elbow surgery, so that would be very unfortunate, but hopefully that is not the case, and hopefully it's not as major as fans are expecting it to be. But again, overall, I still think this team has a ton of talent, a lot of great players on this team. Again, with the offense, you of course have Luis Campusano, Fernando Tatis before he got hurt, Machado, Jake Cronenworth. You have Ha-Seong Kim, Jurickson Profar, who's been absolutely outstanding this year, the great rookie Jackson Merrill, nice bullpen arm in Jeremiah Estrada, Robert Suarez doesn't been the best this year, but still is a good player, and I still have a lot of hope for him. So, a lot to like still on this Padres team. A lot, if you're a fan, you can look at it and say, that's still a great team, still a fantastic team I like to root for. So, overall, if I'm a Padres fan, I'm still excited about where my team is going. It is unfortunate what did happen with Tatis. Now, looking overall in the aspect of the National League and seeing where the Padres do fit, it will be interesting because I don't think they're better than the Phillies, the Dodgers, or the Braves. And then, it gets a little bit of iffy teams. Do you think they're better than the Diamondbacks? Do you think they're better than the Mets, the Cardinals? Personally, I think they're better than the Cardinals. I think they're pretty even with the Diamondbacks and the Mets. I think those three teams are really, in my opinion, the three teams that do stand out in this crowd of NL teams for the two wildcard spots. Because most of us are assuming that 1 is going to be the Phillies, 2 is going to be the Dodgers, 3 is going to be the Brewers, and 4 is going to be the Braves. It just seems like that is what's going to happen for the rest of the year. So if the Padres really, they need to do something to make them stand out with this horde of teams. And, AJ Preller has been a very, very aggressive general manager these past few years. I mean, throughout his entire tenure, actually, is what I should say. So if the Padres do have a need, I have no doubt that he's going to go out and get it. There was an interesting question proposed in an article I read, I forgot which one, that how is the death of the great owner Peter Seidler going to affect the way that the Padres do conduct business on the trade deadline? Because everything we know about Seidler was that he badly wanted to bring a championship to San Diego, but unfortunately, obviously passed away before he could, and just did not have any problem throwing money around. Basically gave Preller all the access to his money in the world and say, just go crazy with it, do whatever you want. That probably is one of the reasons why the Padres were in such a bad financial situation this offseason, why they had to trade Juan Soto. But it is what it is, and you do these moves, you know what the future is going to hold. So it is going to be an interesting situation to see if the new ownership group does let Preller have the same amount of freedom as he did have with Peter Seidler. It is going to be something that I am watching, seeing if Preller is able to trade for the amount of players he's usually able to trade for. So we'll definitely have to end up seeing. But overall, if you're the Padres, you do have some needs. I think a starting pitcher is a need. Definitely need a reliever, maybe even a bat. So just really any player you can get, and I think there are a lot of needs on this Padres team that can make them better. And an article came out today saying that the White Sox were scouting a few teams' farm systems much more heavily than others, and one of the teams part of it were the Padres. Now, I did a whole segment on how the Padres were very interested in Garrett Crochet and why a deal would make sense for both sides. So I still think that. Again, I think Crochet would be a perfect fit for this Padres team. They need a starter. Crochet's not just a guy you're getting for the now, but getting for the future as well, as he has more talent because he is so young. So I think that overall Crochet would be a great fit for this White Sox team and would make a lot of sense here if you would like to add him. Also, Tommy Pham. I think a package deal of Crochet and Pham to the Padres would make a lot of sense. Pham, of course, has history with the San Diego Padres, playing there for a few years. But adding a corner outfielder for this team would make a lot of sense, especially with now Tatis being out for a significant amount of time. And the amount of hitting talent you would have in your team is insane if you do end up adding Pham. I know they've shown interest in him in the past as well after letting him go. So I think a package of Crochet and Pham would be very interesting. But obviously the White Sox are expecting some kind of noise with the Padres here, are scouting their farm system very heavily. The Padres do have a great farm system, just I'm not sure what the level of aggressiveness they will have with giving up some of their top prospect like DeVries or Salas or Snelling or Lesko. So it will be interesting again to watch what the Padres do end up doing this deadline. But I think the Tatis injury might give them a little more of a boost to say, hey, we gotta trade for someone here. We gotta make sure we're still in this race, because a lot of people thought the Padres would just use this year as kind of a retool year, get everything back on track with the financials wise and all that. But no, they used the top prospect they got in that Soto trade and flipped him to get Dylan Cease, a win now pitcher. And Cease has been absolutely outstanding with the Padres, so the trade has worked out. It's just, how good are the Padres really is the question we have to ask. So they'll definitely be a team I'm watching for the rest of the year, and I'm very, very interested to see what is going to end up happening with this Padres team and what overall is going to be the situation that does end up happening here with this Padres team, and what they do at the deadline, what the overall rest of the season looks like, and how they do handle this Tatis injury. So yeah, that is our second segment here, talking about the Fernando Tatis Jr. injury for the Padres and him going to the IL. Moving into our third segment here, which is going to be talking about Jarren Duran and his breakout season for the Boston Red Sox, what's been clicking for him, how well he's been doing, and the impact he is having on his Red Sox team. So yeah, we'll be going over that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search